Third race weekend of the BMW IBSF Bobsleigh and Skeleton World Cup. We're in Winterberg in Germany, and the final race of the day here on Sunday is the women's skeleton competition. Hello everybody, welcome to a packed starting house in the Hochsauerland. I'm Martin Haven, delighted to break in a rookie announcer alongside me in the booth, Austin Florian from the USA, who is fresh, and that is the right word, from the men's race earlier on today. Austin, you've been on the ice today, you're in the best position to tell us what should we be looking out for in this women's race.
Today we had issues with the ice being slow. It's a little foggy. So the ice was a little frosty, but you'll see here with the track, it's crucial to get a good start with how frosty the groove is. You get a long lead into curve 0, which is kind of the false curve, into a long straightaway into curve 1. This is one of the most important parts of the track because it then quickly goes uphill into curve 2. Coming through here, being nice and relaxed, looking through curve 2 to be real easy, not hit the walls there, through curve 3 and relaxing all the way to Kreisel. Doing nothing but going straight and building speed. You have curve 5 here, little double pressure, first one, big one on the track, and then curve 6 brings you into Kreisel. Big braking corner. If you have skids before here, look for some down speeds. And this is where you really start to get moving. Curve 8 into curve 9. Drop a couple stories here, and this is the biggest speed gainer on the entire track. And then through here in the labyrinth, you're getting up towards 130 kilometers an hour. You're really going to want to just be with the sled, keep moving forward into this big uphill corner, and maybe we'll see a victory roll here today.
Yeah, coming out the final corner, trying to hang on the wall for speed, just like our video camera did there. The all-time track record holder is the Olympic champion Lizzie Yarnold. Her last race win here was back in 2015 in the Worlds. But Jacqueline Lurling, our World Cup points leader, has won the last 2 races, having taken 3 silver medals before that, including in that 2015 World Championships. Lurling on the podium in both races in North America in Lake Placid, ahead of Janine Flock and Elena Nikitina. Nikitina, the other race winner in Lake Placid. Jacka won the first race, and Elena the second. But this is home territory. This is ground zero for Jacqueline Lurling fans. It's her home track. She is very well supported here. She knows the track well. The Germans have a way of finding speed here because it's a well-known track. Everybody knows how to get down it, but those tiny little details that keep the speed alive, they know those best, right?
Yeah, this is one of the most finicky tracks on tour. Sometimes you'll have a good run, and it's not as fast as you thought it was, but that's kind of why it's a staple on tour. It's tough, but it can really reward you if you know how to drive it.
Okay, here's our entry list. We kick off with Sweden's Leslie Stratton in her 3rd World Cup race. There are 22 women in the field. The fast 20 go through. So have your own little sweepstake of who you think may be struggling to make the cut. New to the track, a few of them relatively new to the track, quite a few more. And some of our more experienced athletes will show us exactly where to find the pace. Third women's skeleton race of the season about to get underway with Leslie Stratton of Sweden. 27-year-old made her World Cup debut in Lake Placid. Here her first European World Cup race, the 3rd of her career. Martin Haven and Austin Florian watching the action as she gets a little much of corner 0.
Yeah, a little rough entry into corner 0, but she settles into it nicely with a nice parallel entrance into corner 2. She should be looking to relax the sled here. She's been training well, so we'll see how it does this week.
From Bedford, New Hampshire, started as a bobsled athlete, as a pusher, then converted fairly quickly to skeleton.
Leslie with a good 4.56. Little hit before Kreisel, but she's settling into it, and we'll see how she does with the exit speed.
So she is our first of our runners. She'll give us an idea of what the track conditions are like. You talked about frosting because the refrigeration's on in the concrete to keep the ice solid, but damp air, so it just kind of makes it a little sticky on the ice for the runners.
Right, and Leslie will have an advantage running first. You can see the ice is very shiny right now, so she'll have the slickest ice and almost a victory roll.
59.66 run, so that's the first sled down. The track record is 57.42. We didn't get within a second of the record in the men's race, and that's really the conditions. That record set by Lizzie Yarnold in the World Championships in 2015. That was a colder, sunnier weekend.
You see Leslie coming into corner 6 there, and that hit before Kreisel. That'll cost you a lot. Big braking corner right before your big speed gain section will cost you a lot. And almost rolling it out of corner 14. We might see a little bit more of that today.
Yeah, well, the timing eye's right there where she was sideways. So Leslie Stratton, first sled down of our 22 starters. Next up is another woman who didn't race here in the World Cup last year. This is Maddie Charney's 6th World Cup start, her first ever outside North America. So 4 of her 5 previous World Cup races have been in Lake Placid.
See Maddie come through corner 0 with a solid start. Handles it really nicely with a little tap, but she's keeping the sled going downhill, which is important.
It's almost impossible to get a clean run through corner 0. You can't avoid it on a skeleton sled, can you?
You're going to have to touch the ice at some point, but we might see the Germans do it clean. They know how to do it very well.
All right, we'll see how they go. So 4200s up on Leslie Stratton, Maddie Charney with a quicker start by 1700s, and that should multiply all the way down.
Good looking entry to Kreisel. And a great 8-9 transition. We'll see how she brings it down the bottom of the track.
Let's see if she can take advantage of the early ice. That fresh spritz, the spray of water that gives you that mirror finish.
Really smooth bottom of the track. Gaining on Leslie.
Yeah, pulling away. She's going to be about 8/10 clear at the line. Oh no, came back in the final corner. So from what was the biggest margin, 7200s up out of the Kreisel down to just over 4/10 in front. Maddie Charney 59.27 slide.
A good run for Maddie. She should be happy with that one. We'll see how it brings her through the rest of the field.
So to me, this always is the toughest part of skeleton. Once you're on the sled and driving it, that's one thing, but actually loading and doing it neatly and making all that momentum drive you forward, so tough.
It's one of the most difficult things you'll ever do. Saying hi to the dogs at home.
Yep, I'm sure they'll be watching. Probably making more sense of it than we are. Next up is Renata Kutsina of Russia, 25 years old, and a little bit more experienced than the 2 girls we've seen so far. This is her 22nd World Cup.
This is her first World Cup start of the season. She did not go to Lake Placid. We'll see how she does here.
Yeah, she was doing the Intercontinental Cup, the 2nd tour of sliding, which started off the season here in Europe. Last race here, she was 17th.
She looks like she's had a pretty good run going up to this point so far. Letting it run, really relaxed, coming through, and that's really important through this top section, just minimizing the amount of speed lost.
A little bit of a disappointing race in the men's competition for the Russians. Alexander Tretiakov off the podium for only the 3rd time in 13 seasons at this track, 14 seasons now. And Nikita Tregibov not starting well and sank like a stone, ended up 19th. For the Olympic silver medalist, it was nothing short of a disaster. Kutsina a 1/4 of a second back on Maddie Charney, and she's not going to be too far ahead of Leslie Stratton of Sweden either. Wow, at least she wasn't, and then she found something in the final corner.
Yeah, she had pretty good speed coming into 9 and coming into curve 14, so she was clawing it back, but something happened up top where she lost a lot of time.
Well, again, if you're not seeing big errors, that's because there aren't too many big errors to be seen here. So Mignon won the men's race by 500ths of a second from being over 3/10 up, and he said it's just a lot of tiny errors all the way down.
See hanging up a little bit on curve 13.
Yeah, a little late height in 11 as well, and that's the 13-14 transition, so clean as she doesn't hit the wall there. So Kutsina bringing it back in the final corner. We've seen many races won and lost in just the final corner. Next up is Russia's Elena Nikitina. Nikitina lying in 3rd place in the World Cup standings. She won the last race in Lake Placid. Let's see if she can add victory here.
5:20, big push from Nikitina, but she didn't really handle corner 0 pretty well. That's going to cost her a lot. Some other sliders that could even push a 5:30 may even outspeed her into corner 2.
Yeah, if you're pinballing from 0 to 1, you're going to lose a lot of time.
She's recovered it back pretty quick, though, but that's a lot of time lost right before an uphill section into a big, long flat and a couple braking corners. So we'll see how it comes, but she seems like she's pulling away right now.
Well, the gap's come down from 45 to 3800s as she gets into the Kreisel. Good exit.
A little late into corner 9, but she seems to be building speed all the way down.
Yeah, gap's still coming down. Let's see what she's got when she gets out the labyrinth. Head up a little. Doesn't look like she's quite as confident as she might be. 125.1 down at the bottom, 77 miles an hour. Leslie Stratton of Sweden, our first slider, was quicker at the bottom. Sergei Chudinov, always hard to read. He always has a kind of half a smile, half not a smile on his face, I think.
Hard to read him for sure.
Yeah, 58.51 though, and Elena Nikitina has the lead of the race. 7/10 ahead of Maddie Charney. So again, she found speed in the bottom.
Good run, but I'm not sure how long that'll hold up.
Yeah.
Have a couple Germans coming up a little later, but we'll see if they can dethrone Nikitina.
Look at the way she's using her legs there, swinging the body around, trying to stop the sled pinballing down. There she buries her head in 11. Big late height, but gets the crossover neatly into 12.
Yeah, there's a decent amount of pressure down in the bottom of the track. A lot of speed, but it only comes in the last 15 seconds, so.
Long wait. Kim Armans of Belgium is next up. Kim's 33rd World Cup start. She was 13th here in last year's World Cup race. Again, like Nikitina, off corner 0, dinks the wall on the way down to turn 1.
Having an interesting top. Not perfect, but it's workable. And she knows this track more than anyone. She's had a lot of runs here. She can handle it pretty well. And she knows how to gel with the sled for sure and get all the speed she can out of the track.
Marmans sliding for Belgium, but she actually started her career in the German program. So she had good grounding. Comes into Kreisel. Big second wave. Controls it just about on the exit.
A little early into 8, though. We'll see how she handles it.
She was 3800s back. She's bringing it back to 2800s behind. Can hear the chin of the helmet scraping the ice.
Good speed in the final corner.
125, 77.5 miles an hour, and across the line in second place, quarter second back on Elena Nikitina.
Not bad for Kim.
Yeah, she had Nikitina had bigger speed at the bottom of the track. Marmans in second place.
Yeah, Kim getting out pushed by 25 hundredths of a second, only 25 at the bottom, so she outdrove Nikitina for sure.
Yeah. So lots of Belgians in town. This is a big holiday resort for the Netherlands and for Belgium.
You see that mistake out of corner 0. We're going to be seeing that a lot today. It's very, very tricky corner with not a lot of pressure to help you stay on the corner. See that hit before 8. Makes you have to do a lot of work in 8 to get into the correct position in 9.
So Little Belgian is second. Maddie Charney third. Elena Nikitina leads. First sleds down in our 22-strong women's field. Next up from Australia, Jacqueline Narracott, her 33rd World Cup start, same as Kim Marmans. 10th place in last year's race here. Another former bobsledder turned skeleton athlete.
Expect to see a solid start here from Kim.
So 5:55 for Jackie Narracott.
Not Kim.
Yeah, no. And so that leaves her 3500s behind Elena Nikitina. And Nikitina is customarily the fastest starter in the field.
Yeah, not sure if we'll see anyone outpush her today. Yulia might get close, however, no one's generally in the ballpark of Nikitina.
Well, Narracott, originally from Brisbane in Australia, now lives down in Bath with husband Dom Parsons. Sure Dom is watching this afternoon. Enjoy your retirement, mate. The Olympic bronze medalist, did the 2 World Cup races in Lake Placid, and then decided actually that he had had enough of sliding after all. Coming back to 3/10 behind, Little Rocky out of the lower labyrinth and across the line, 4100s back. That was an entertaining last few corners.
It was a couple mistakes up top, and a lot bigger mistakes on the bottom. However, given the time, sled's running pretty fast. I think if she could fix those mistakes second run, she should be able to move up a couple of spots.
You can have a much more dramatic mistake lower down because of the speed you're carrying without losing as much time as a tiny error early on.
Right, but you want to minimize the mistakes before corner 14 because it is a big uphill corner, and you see her flop off of 13 there. Big impacts down bottom will hurt you before that big long uphill section. Right here before 14,
Big hit on the take-on onto 13, and then on the outlet and take-on onto 14,
going
bumping
into
around.
Big uphill section, that'll cost you a lot.
Good to see Kevin Boyer doing some work for a change. Helping out with the sled.
Besides, I don't see his hair sticking straight up right now.
Matthias Guggenberger helping with the sled for the most experienced woman in the field. Her 76th World Cup start, Janine Flock, bronze medalist here last year. She's had medals on this track, but has never won here in Winterberg.
Yeah, expect to see a very good drive from Janine. She's not the best pusher in the field, but she's middle of the road, and she'll throw down a really good drive.
Last year's bronze medal, her only World Cup medal on this track. She's had 6 career wins among 30 podium finishes.
Little tap before corner 5, that'll cause some unsettling issues, but it's not the end of the world. She handles it very well, has a solid entrance into Kreisel, and is handling the waves. We'll see how she comes out of the exit.
Grew up sliding on the Eagles track, and that really helps here because her discipline and her form is so exemplary.
Very similar driving style to Eagles, very finicky. This is more finicky, I would say, than Winterberg. Top speed,
big speed at the bottom, 128.2, 79.7 miles an hour. Think about that on an icy road with your chin scraping along the floor. Janine Flock takes the lead away from Elena Nikitina. She started 3,100 slower, finished 3,000 in front. It's a big drive from Janine.
Janine, one of the best pilots in the field for sure. She'll be able to stand up to the Germans hopefully today, see if we can prevent a German sweep again, like we did earlier.
Yeah, well, we haven't had a German sweep in a few years. There's usually somebody preventing that, but... Well,
it's a little tap before 5.
Yeah.
Not
it's a big reaction from Matthias for a tiny little error, but that's a pretty decent run, and that could well leave Janine Flock in medal contention. Next up, Anna Fehrenstetter, formerly Anna Fehrenstetter of Germany. Took a year out, changed nations, and this is her 16th World Cup start, only her 3rd, though, as a slider for the Czech Republic. Didn't compete in this race last year. She's not taken a medal on this track, but she's been a part of the German program. She knows how to find speed here.
Yeah, she definitely knows how to drive this track for sure. She's not going to give you the biggest starts in the field. However, she will make up speed down the track. She had a rough 0 to 2, a little late entrances than she would have liked, and a little skid. However, she's managing it well, and we'll see if this next split how her speeds are.
Double junior world champion. In 2018, she was the junior world champion as a German. Last year, she was the junior world champion as a Czech. Not sure that's ever been done before either.
She's got some good speed into corner 9. We'll see how she can turn it on at the bottom of the track, make some more time.
Well, she needs to. She's half a second behind. This is only a top 6 run, not a top 3 run.
Losing time still.
6/10 back, still in the top half dozen, 127.
Second highest speed, looking at a victory roll here.
Wow! Brings it back to 5th at the line, but we still have all 3 strong German sliders to come.
Yeah, Anna will not be happy with that run. She has a lot of runs here. No, it's not her favorite track in the world. However, she can definitely drive a little bit better than that, and she'll be looking to move up a couple spots next run.
Don't have to be a great psychologist to read the look on her face. Not a bad exit at corner 0, but she got into a little skid trying to steer it away from the wall. And here in the final corner.
Big dip. Being up higher than that, they're about 2 sled lengths above, sled widths above anybody else, and that's just more meters traveled than anyone else.
And up in the frost, we're way up high there as well, so it slows you down even more. Next up, the yellow jersey marks our World Cup leader, and oh yeah, the noise of the crowd marks the appearance on the block of Jacqueline Lurling, the 24-year-old from Winterberg in Germany, her 33rd World Cup. She's our reigning world champion, our Olympic silver medalist. And she has won the last 2 races on this track. 5:55, that is not where she wins these races. Everywhere after she's laid down, that's where she wins these races.
If you want to watch how to drive this track, you watch Jacqueline take one of these runs down here. She'll be putting the sled wherever she wants to, and she'll be running pretty quick, and she'll be relaxed, and the sled's just going to accelerate all the way down the track.
Nearly won her first big race on this track, the 2015 Worlds, beaten only by Lizzie Yarnell to the gold medal. She was the Youth Olympic champion in girls skeleton in 2012. The writing was on the wall then, and now she has the lead for the first time. 95.8, that's the biggest speed we've seen so far.
Up on speed on Janine, doing nothing but building her lead right now.
Yeah. Still only 900s in front, 128.3. That's the same speed as Janine Flock, and at the line, the gap remains 900ths of a second. That is manageable for Janine.
Should expect some good racing second heat between Janine and the Germans, if this is where Jacka ends up.
2 things you expect when you come to Winterberg: rain and really tight races, where 100th can mean the difference between success and failure.
Absolutely.
And ties are by no means uncommon.
Had a nice load here, a little early. Could have taken it a stride deeper to get a little more velocity down over the crest. However, that's not where she makes her speed, and you'll see here she'll just be super relaxed and letting it flow.
In 13 seasons of World Cup races, only 4 men have won here in Winterberg. 10 different women have taken a gold medal. That's how wide open this race can be. Tina Hermann could just as easily win this as Jacqueline Lurling. She won 4 years ago. 5:51. She means business.
Pretty comparable start to Jacka. We'll see
Yeah.
whoever drives best down bottom is who's going to come out on top.
And Tina was the queen of speed here, took over that title from Marion Thies a few years ago until Lurling really hit her stride. But she's in the green.
Just letting it flow here through the top sections and building as much speed as she can. However, she's losing right now to Jacka.
She's not as tall, she's a slighter athlete than Lurling as well, which means she's got more weight on the sled at the start. It means that she doesn't have quite the control maybe that Jacka does in the quicker parts.
She's up on speed and building currently.
Here we go. The winner in 2015-16. She has not been, she was silver medalist last year, but that was her only other podium appearance here, but she has the lead by 200ths, 400ths of a second. Could cover the top 3 after this heat, because we've still got Sophia Griebel to go.
Good run from Tina there. She let it go on the bottom a little too much, and she had some mistakes and some hits, especially before 14. Saw her lose a little bit of speed in that big uphill section right before the finish. You want to be really clean there.
Yeah, she's kind of, a little bit comme ci, comme ça. A few mistakes creeping in. And you can trust the guys in replay to find them.
Right there, that hit before 14 in that uphill section, not what you want to see.
Yeah, if you're in a race, don't put the brakes on when you're going up the hill. But Tina Hermann, 200ths in front. Jacqueline Lurling in third, 1100ths back. And then there's a 3/10 yawning gap to Elena Nikitina in 4th place. So the medals at the moment, it is a battle between Hermann, Lurling and Flock. Quick getaway for our 11th starter. This is Marina Gilardoni of Switzerland in her 74th World Cup race. 12 of them were in bobsleighs, admittedly, but still 62 now as a skeleton slider.
I did not know she had that many starts until you told me that earlier.
It's astonishing, isn't it? I know she's been around a while, but yeah, she and Janine now north of 70 starts.
Yeah, she's pretty experienced slider. Expect her to feel pretty comfortable, especially here. She drives this track very well, and she has a lot of runs on it, which is very, very helpful for this track.
Comfortably outstarting the Germans. Her lead was out to 1500ths. Will she still be in the lead here? She's tied now and drips a little back into 2nd place.
She's down on speed to Tina right now, about a half mile an hour. She'll probably expect to drop her. Yep, drop a little bit through this uphill corner, down about a whole mile an hour right here.
And Hermann and Lurling 1-2, and Marina Gilardoni in 4th place, halfway between Janine Flock and Elena Nikitina.
Very good run from Marina, though.
Yeah, didn't race in the World Cup here last season.
she can clean up her Kreisel, she'll be fighting for the lead second run.
Well, the World Championships might be a really good place for her. She's got a good solid start. That works well in Altenburg, and she really likes drivers tracks, and Altenburg is definitely one of those. This is a gliders track, isn't it?
Absolutely. Start's very important here, especially today with a slightly sticky groove. You really want to be strong through all that frost and not have as much air time, but it's a good run for Marina, and she should be pretty happy with that.
Well, she is a strong starter, former junior double world champion as a bobsleigh brakewoman, so she's got what it takes at the start. Next up, one of your teammates, Kendall Westenberg, 15th in the race last year, and Kendall now in her 35th World Cup start. Starting to become one of the most experienced sliders in the field from Modesto, California.
Good push from Kendall there. She hasn't had the fastest starts this year, but she's been driving very, very well this season. Big skid out of corner 0, though. We'll see how that affects her down through here.
5th and 6th in Lake Placid. She took a bronze medal in Lake Placid the season before this. One of her 2 World Cup bronze medals.
Yeah, and Kendall's coming through corner 5. She's still driving pretty well, but she had a big mistake out of corner 0. We'll see how it affects her.
It's like putting on the brakes away from the start line in a drag race. It always is going to leave you trying to catch up. And that big long skid off corner 0, wonder just how little control she's gone for if she's tried to let the sled run free.
It's just an unsettling corner. Sometimes you just don't hit it right.
Hovering around the top 10 at the moment. Renata Kutziner is in 10th, and Kendall at the moment is ahead of her, comes across the line in 9th. So she's ahead of Maddie Charney of Canada. In fact, she's ahead of the first 3 of our starters.
Yeah, Kendall is not going to be very happy with that because of that early mistake. However, the rest of her run was pretty good looking. And if she cleans that up out of corner 0 next run, expect her to move up a lot.
I apologise to her. Her 2 medals were a bronze and a silver in World Cup racing. Again, trying to load and just drive the sled forward, like diving into a swimming pool almost, but trying to hit a boogie board on the way in.
Yeah, and there's that big skid into 0. That is one of your only downhill sections before you go up a little bit, and then there's a long flat. You want to get as much speed out of that as you can.
Mimi Reniva, 4th place in the World Cup rankings with 2 4th place finishes in the season openers in Lake Placid, the double race weekends. And Mimi, her 26th World Cup start. She finished 5th place in the race here last year. Now she is a big starter. Let's see if the 31-year-old from Calgary can get in amongst the medals this time.
Big start for Mimi, 2nd fastest push, and you should expect a good drive from her as well. She's driving very well this season. I think those are her best finishes ever in Lake Placid, if I'm not mistaken. Good exit of corner 2, letting the sled fly and gaining speed right now.
Well, Mimi from Canada, but for a North American slider, perhaps odd that 2 of her wins have come in San Moritz, the longest, fastest, and only natural track on the planet.
She had a little mistake into Kreisel, so expect the speed to be a little bit down here. She's holding even, so you might see the time get clawed back by Tina right here.
Just saw a little toe steer as she came off the corner. It's going to be close. Couple of hundreds in it.
She'll drop behind Tina and maybe even Jaka as well.
125.2 at the bottom.
Down on speed.
Yeah, a couple of kilometres now down. So she's in 4th place, 13 hundreds back, 2 hundreds off bronze. She's in the mix for the medals, no question about it.
Yeah, if she cleans up the end of her flat section, she should be moving. She's got had a couple mistakes in some very crucial points before some braking corners, and we'll see how she can turn that around for second run.
Big smile from Mimi. Great starter, 2nd fastest in the field. And that's such an advantage here. It's never a disadvantage, but here it really, really helps you.
Right, absolutely. With that flat start and a flat top of the track, you want that start to really give you an advantage in any sort of lead you can at the bottom of the track.
Hi, Elizabeth and Benny. Congratulations on baby Hendrik. Sending lots of hugs.
That's Elizabeth Varche, who will be watching. Winner here 3 years ago, silver medalist 2 years ago, and new mum. So Megan Henry next up for Team USA. 3rd ever World Cup start for Meg. And
should expect a big start from her right here.
Yeah.
5:38.
That's another great getaway.
Another little skid out of corner 0. Not as bad as Kendall's, but she handled it well. Hopefully she translates her speed down the hill through here. She's a very good driver here. She has a lot of good experience and a lot of results here. She had 2 podiums here in ICC last season.
It's got to be the smallest athlete in the field, pushing a maximum weight sled to make up the overall running weight.
Yeah, 38 kilo sled, roughly 75 pounds. She has to carry around.
Was 300s up coming into the Kreisel, just drifts a little away from the lead.
A little bit late into corner 11. She handles it okay, though. She's down on speed. She'll probably be dropping a bit, but okay speed. So we'll see how she comes out.
Top 10 run at the line. It is 7th place, 58.73.
Meg's going to be very happy with that one.
So she is the top US slider. Top North American is Mimi Reneva in 4th place. It's a good slide for Megan Henry.
Yeah, she should be very happy with that. She's been training really well all week, and her push definitely doesn't hurt. Great load, taking it deeper than almost anybody else, really fast. And she's been the fastest pusher in the US for a while.
Yeah, she has the American push start record at Lake Placid.
That is correct.
US Army officer and winter slider. Caleb with the sled for her teammate Savannah Grable.
Let's see if he loses a tooth again this year.
Trying to think whether Caleb took a medal on this track. I don't think he did. Certainly not in the records we've got since 2006. So let's see what Savannah can produce in terms of start. Won't be as quick as Megan Henry.
Yeah, Savannah will have a solid push, but she drives really well down the track. So expect her to build speed just like some of the German girls down the track.
19th in last year's race here in Winterberg, and Savannah and Megan were actually at American University together, played field hockey together, and then as their careers diverged, they end up in the same sport in the same team again.
Yeah, kind of funny how things happen like that.
Yeah. Well, a 10th back at the start, 4300s back now, so she's not got the speed that she needs as she gets to the Kreisel.
Good lines through Kreisel. She's just not carrying enough speed right now.
About a mile an hour down, 2.5 Ks shy of where she wants to be to match the fastest Germans. But still end up being a top 10 run. Anna Fenstettova is in 10th place. I think the speed is drifting away a little at the bottom. So 12th place, 59.16 behind Kendall by 1100ths of a second.
Yeah, we'll start to see the track deteriorate. That was a pretty solid run with a couple of mistakes up top, though. So it makes sense. However, the track is definitely going to start deteriorating, and you'll see the times go with that as well as we get down through this the start order.
Well, here in corner 11, trying to avoid dropping too low between the pressures.
Handles it well, but then gets a little loose towards the end, but it ends up working out well for her. She lives really loose down bottom and didn't lose too much speed.
Well, she's raced here a couple of times. Megan Henry's first race here was in the 2015 Worlds. Tina Herman, Jacqueline Lurling, Janine Flock, your top 3. 15 sleds down and 7 to go for 5 places in the field. Jane Channell was here cheerleading for her male colleagues earlier today. What can the girl from North Vancouver do for herself? 42nd World Cup start for Jane Channell. Finished just outside the top 10 last year in 11th place in Winterberg.
Little much out of corner 0, and she has to fight a bit, and it's never good to do that much work in that long straightaway before the uphill. You want to get that going.
A 5:30 start leaves her 2100ths ahead of current leader Tina Herman, and she's just building that advantage slowly.
Second fastest start definitely helps, but she's going to have to drive pretty well to stay ahead of the Germans. Already lost a decent amount of her lead, and she's down on speed, so we'll see how she can translate that down through the big drop of corner 9.
Good form so far, just steering to try and get the line she wants onto 9. Decent exit. Top 6 slide potentially coming up for Jane Channell of Canada.
Pretty good looking run down here. Down on speed though, we'll see how much that affects her going uphill.
Couple of rubs in the labyrinth haven't helped. 8th place though, 58.77. So she didn't find the speed that the Germans did right at the bottom of the track.
She should be pretty happy with that run, though. Big push definitely helped for sure.
So she is 400s behind Megan Henry. And Elena Nikita in 6th place is a couple of tenths of a second ahead of them.
Shows into six into Kreisel. Yeah. A little bit of a skid into the big braking corner did not help her cause at all, but she had a pretty good drive up until that point. Pops up high and has some waves. You'll have to control that and drive it pretty big into a big 270-degree turn. Does not help your speed down to the bottom of the track.
Next up, Germany's 3rd slider, Sophia Griebel. Martin Haven and US slider Austin Florian watching the first heat of the Women's Skeleton World Cup in Winterberg in Germany. Griebel finishing in 6th place last year.
Handling corner 0 like a German.
Well, she's yet to take a medal on the track here in Winterberg. Doesn't play to her strong suit. 200s back on the leader, her teammate Tina Hermann. It's a German 1-2 at the moment.
Yeah, don't expect much to happen with time until about Kreisel, and then you might see some dropping back, like right there. Didn't have as good of a corner 4, corner 5. We'll see if she can pull it back down bottom, though.
That was a nice, consistent line around the Kreisel, not waving up and down, covering too much ice. Out of 9, clean exit.
Down on speed a little bit, and she's back, dropping even more.
Again, it's
good
tiny
speed,
errors. She looks like she's doing everything right. 125.8 at the bottom, but only 10th place. She's not going to get a medal this year either, is she?
It's going to be pretty hard to claw back, but if we know Sophia, we know she has very good second runs. Last year, she moved up a couple spots from 1st to 2nd.
Well, she's had 5th and 6th place finishes here over the last couple of years, but it's going to be a bit of a climb up from 10th.
Yeah, none of the German girls are fantastic starters, but they all drive very, very well down the track, and they build speed late. Sophia just had a couple mistakes in crucial areas, but expect her to fix those with the amount of experience she has on this track and the coaching she has.
So Sophia and her sled go to get weighed and measured as Laura Dees of Great Britain comes to the line. Time to say hello to 2-time winner on this track, Shelley Rudman. Shelley, Lizzie Arnold and Jacqueline Lurling, the only women to have won here more than once. When you consider that Martin Stukhorst has won here 9 times in 10 seasons.
Still a crazy stat.
Yeah, I know. 5:39 start from Laura Dees.
Big start for Laura. You'll see a lot of big starts from her, though, generally. Helps her down the track, and she's still a very good driver as well.
And now Britain's only Olympic medalist from Pyeongchang still competing with the retirement of Don Parsons. Not sure whether post-baby Lizzie Arnold is planning a comeback or not. She's taken a more administrative role with British bobsleigh and skeleton this year. 700s back as she gets to the Kreisel.
Very down on speed into Kreisel. See it show up in this next split for sure. Yep.
And down on speed here as well. 1.5 miles an hour away, nearly 4 Ks shy of where the Germans are.
Very tough to pull that speed back once you've lost it into Kreisel.
Ooh.
Little late off of there.
123.8 needs to be up to 127 at the bottom, and 13th place in the first heat. She's 900s behind Anna Fenstettova, and 10th place is a quarter of a second ahead of her.
Not going to be happy with that one, especially with the push she had.
An Olympic bronze medalist. All of her career wins in World Cup races have come on German tracks. I know there are a few of them. That's 3 of the 8 races we do every year.
And the Olympics.
Yeah, she didn't win, but she did win a medal. She won the bronze medal. Well, good height here, just using the head to guide her through corner 11, but late on exiting the labyrinth, that's not where you want to be in all sorts of trouble.
Almost a full scorpion there out of 13.
Really just hanging onto the sled there, wasn't she?
Kind of just hanging on, but letting it fly at the same time.
Pink helmet of Yulia Kanakina, the only former ballet dancer in the ice sliding sport. Kanakina, another electrifying starter.
Should see a big push from Yulia right here.
Yeah.
5:23. Second fastest push. Only 300s behind Nicotina. Handles corner 0 very well as well. Her driving's been coming on as well lately.
Yeah. 2017, she was the junior world champion. Anna van Stettever has won it the last 2 years. She's taking medals in both of those as well.
Currently building on her lead. Little late in the corner 5, though. That's not going to help her cause. Yep, already lost half of that lead from a couple corners, and it'll see it start bleeding even more right now.
See big head steer through the corner. Just trying to use all of the body in the airflow to guide the sled rather than having to slide the runners. She drops out of the top 3.
Yeah, she's dropping a lot of speed right now, and that was because of that Kreisel entrance. It just adds up as you're going downhill.
So this is a little bit like Nikita Tregebov, second fastest start at the top, 18th at the bottom, 1 1/4 seconds slower.
That just shows you how crucial those top couple corners are.
Yeah.
You make those mistakes before that big Kreisel, it's gonna show down bottom very badly.
It just takes so long to unwind that, doesn't it? And it takes so long, if you get those clean, for it to show right at the bottom of the track as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, sometimes with this track, where the timesheets show you lost speed, generally it can be 5 or 6 corners before then that your mistake happened. That did not help it either. Going that late into corner 9 is a big time loser.
Anytime you see the athlete bounce up off the sled, that's energy that's moving her, that should be pushing her faster down the track. And then it broke into a skid going into corner 10 as well. That wasn't great. Next up, Ashley Pittaway for Great Britain. Only the 8th World Cup for Ashley. The Youth Olympic gold medalist in 2016. She made her World Cup debut 5 years ago now, at the age of 15, and is still the youngest athlete in the British programme.
She's been around for a while. She was another one of those sliders that used to slide for Germany as well,
Yeah.
so she knows how to drive a sled down an ice track.
Yeah, born in Munich, so no surprise that although she's got British parents, that her debut came in Koenigsegg.
Little unsettled going into Kreisel. She doesn't seem very comfortable right now.
17th fastest start. She's not losing any time, but she's not gaining any at the moment. And it's only her 8th World Cup. She's been a very occasional performer in the World Cup. 19th place at the moment. She might struggle to make the field. 2 of our starters will not make it in.
Very good speed to the sleds around her, though.
Well, there you go, and that shows as she comes from 19th out of the Kreisel up to 13th at the line. And that is how you slide this track, find the speed.
Given the ice going away, that's a very good run. If she's running earlier next run, she should expect to jump a couple spots.
Well, good to see Ashley Pittaway back in the World Cup squad. And like her German rivals, not the fastest starter.
Knows how to drive a sled down the track, though.
17 starter, 13th at the bottom of the track. Elbow out there, a little bit of a steer, more than she wanted perhaps out of turn 11. 20 sleds down, Tina Hermann, Jacqueline Lerling, Janine Flock. The top 3/4 second covers the top 5. That's the battle for your medals. The battle now in Winterberg is to make it into the race. 2 sleds remain. Martin Haven, Austin Florian from the USA watching Lin Huaiyang of China in her 3rd World Cup start. 21 years old from the huge city of Ningbo. Former sprinter. Did the ICC here in November 2018.
New slider, but solid push. She seems to be driving pretty well lately and learning from Gung and the other Chinese sliders that have had a little bit more mileage than her.
Yeah, she did Junior Worlds and World Championships last year, but this is her 1st year sliding regularly in the World Cup. The top 10 start.
Big waves in 5 and a hit before 6. That's going to cost her big time. Down on speed coming into Kreisel and waving a lot. She's not controlling this very well. She's letting it fly, though.
Yeah. Sleds by Willi Schneider, coaching by Andy Schmidt and Willi Schneider. There's a lot of experience going into this Chinese skeleton team. 123.7 at the bottom, not great speed. And I'm not sure if that was the helmet, the toes, or both scraping on the ice at the bottom. But she comes across the line in 20th place, and that means at the moment she is in the race and Leslie Stratton is out.
Given the mistakes she had, that's a pretty good run. It was there were some mistakes in some crucial areas, but she was relaxed and she let the sled fly, and that's what's really important on this track. There's that hit before 6, not a good place to hit the wall, and then you're going to go early into Kreisel, but she fought it and she skidded it. So into that big corner, it's not the most ideal situation. And a skid into corner 9, but there's times she's fighting and there's times she's letting it fly. So
yeah,
there's some good things to be picked out from that.
Somewhere in between the two is the balance to pick. Our final sled on ice, Valentina Margallo, 7th World Cup start for the 26-year-old from close to Milan. Made her World Cup debut here in December 18 when she was 20th. Can she make the cut again?
Valentina's had a lot of races, and she's had some moments of brilliance, and hopefully she's got one of these runs up today.
We saw a rookie making his debut in the men's field from Italy, produce a top 10 performance. Fantastic new star for the young Italian team. But Valentina at the moment trying to fight her way in off a strong start, 3rd fastest starter in the field.
Yeah, she's typically one of the top starters in the field. She's just got to figure out the drive, and she's been progressing. It's been improving lately, and we'll see how she can let it fly down here.
Kind of wild and loose. She's gone from 3rd to 15th.
Wild and loose isn't always bad.
No. Ask Kristen Bromley. 123 kilometres an hour, not much speed. Is it enough to make the race? It is. 17th place. Nearly rolls it across the line. 59.26 for Valentina Margallo, and that means that Lin of China and Stratton of Sweden will join the fans trackside in the 2nd heat. And Yulia Kanakina of Russia hangs on in 20th place. So top 20 go through, and our other 2 sliders do not get a run, but it was fast and loose, wasn't it, from Valentina? A lot of times it looked like she was in real trouble, but she just let the sled do its thing.
Absolutely. She's been very good at that, letting it fly. Little bit of a victory roll out of corner 14. I know what that's like. But she's definitely been progressing as a driver for sure, and it's helping support her monster push.
Hanging it out for speed. Well, it's Tina Hermann of Germany who has the lead in the 1st heat. She's only been out the top 10 in a couple of her career races, and right now is looking to try and repeat her victory of 2015, 2016. It's been 4 long years since she won on this Winterberg track. Can she do it again? Her consistency, like that of teammate Jacqueline Learning, is quite incredible. They are separated by just 200ths of a second. Janine Flock, Mimi Reneva, 200ths away for bronze. Don't count out Marina Gilardoni. We saw all sorts of slip-ups in the men's field in the top order. If that happens again, Gilardoni could be there to pounce, but she could just as easily make a mistake. Down towards the tail of the field, it'll be 20th place who goes through. Yulia Kanakina and Qiang Lin and Leslie Stratton do not get a 2nd heat here. But you do, so you can join us for the 2nd heat action. Join Austin Florian, me, Martin Haven, and the IBSF TV crew as we come back at 3:30 local. That's 14:30 Greenwich Mean Time to see who's going to win our 3rd women's skeleton race of the season.